Trump is not tired of winning. He is on a world tour, well, a Mideast tour, but a world tour of winning, if you will. And he's talking about a lot of things that are going to be, I think, big wins for the country, which is the most important thing of all. So we got about $600 billion of Saudi investment, I think, that he says has been now committed to the U.S. He's trying to pick up $1 trillion of direct investment from foreign countries in the Mideast into the United States. Stock market, oh, man, it's looking so good all of a sudden. Everyone, their 401ks, I remember a few weeks ago, these are people's retirements you're destroying, right? I mean, the whole thing. And
eggs, $2, like inflation, all of the things that they have tried to turn into like sort of things to weigh down the Trump presidency with, they've all collapsed. Eggs are coming back down. I saw this morning, I was reading, this is the biggest drop in egg prices in a month since 1984. The stock market is now positive for the year, which is, hey, what are you going to argue there? We got, to your point, Middle East, like everything they try to hit him with, it just blows back up in their face.
Yeah, I mean, and they're talking so much about this the jet gift thing. You know, I'm just going to tell you, it's just hard for me to pretend to care enough about these things when they get. What about the emoluments clause? Okay, well, I remember when the Washington Post was writing stories about how the emoluments clause was in violation. Do you remember this, Clay?
Mm-hmm.
At the Trump Hotel, because they did an analysis and there were foreign, basically embassy staff, ambassadors, whatever, who were eating and drinking at the Trump Hotel. And they were saying this is a violation because if the attaché from Madagascar has a bacon cheeseburger, maybe he can get Trump to change foreign policy. Like, it was crazy stuff that they were pushing. Now, yeah, a $300 million jet is a much bigger gift than the profit margin on a cheeseburger when you own a hotel and they have to pay the staff and everything. My point merely being, it's just hard at this point. How much am I going to sit around and be like, oh my gosh, you see what he's doing with Trump? The hysteria stuff. I can't do it. Right. I can't get myself to care about these things that they're trying to tell us to care so much about. But we should look at some of the other wins that Trump has racked up. You see, a federal judge has ruled in favor of the Alien Enemies Act deportation. The Milwaukee County judge, Hannah Dugan, remember her? I'm going to hide the illegal in my courtroom because federal law doesn't apply to me as some rinky-dink judge up in Wisconsin. She has been indicted by a grand jury for basically aiding and abetting a person who's on the run in her courtroom. I think that's a win. So you've got all this. You got inflation lower than expected. I think we mentioned that yesterday, but it came in at like 2.4% or something. Inflation. Just imagine what this economy starts to look like as you get more trade deals, Clay, and a few basis points get dropped from this, or they start dropping rates. Just put it simply. I think these are all the kinds of wins that Trump is going to be able to rack up, and then there's also the drug price. Look, Trump was on with our friend Sean Hannity last night. Sean's traveling with him through the Middle East. I thought this was really interesting. He's talking about opening up China to U.S. businesses. This is cut 13. Play it.
One of the things I think that could be most exciting for us and also for China is that we're trying to open up China because, as you know, many years ago we opened up the USA. Now it's time for China to open up, and that's part of our deal. And we're going to open up China. To me, that's the most exciting part. But, yeah, we made a deal. The relationship is very good. I've always had a good relationship with President Xi. It was interrupted because of COVID, obviously. But outside of that, I've always had a great relationship, a lot of respect for him. And we'll see how that all works out. But we have the confines of a very, very strong deal with China.
Clay, as we get more details about this, we don't really have any details right now, but they're going to have to provide something. We're going to hear more about this. I think that, look, I don't want to get ahead of things, but it just feels like the Trump team is simultaneously firing on all cylinders and also keeping things pretty much on schedule. You know, they're moving at the pace that they said they'd be moving and getting things done the way they said they would from the start.
Let's just think about this, because you worked in the CIA. You've spent a lot of time overseas. One of the big criticisms of Trump for much of his political career is that he isn't able to handle foreign affairs. That's probably one of we're going to get into World War III. He has no idea what he's doing. Let's just think, Buck, in the last week, what he has helped to accomplish. First of all, Marco Rubio's doing an amazing job. He has 48 different jobs inside of the government right now, but it didn't get very much attention. You mentioned it on the show quite a lot last week, but I do think it's significant that India and Pakistan, not really great historic friends, they were in danger of having a conflict spiral out of control. Trump engaged in some form of mediation to help settle that situation down. In potentially tomorrow in Istanbul, we may have the first face-to-face meeting between Zelensky and Putin since Putin invaded Ukraine in February or March of 2022, whenever that initial invasion started, if I remember correctly. And they are only meeting there, according to reports, if Trump will show up. So they're begging Trump to go to Istanbul. We also have Trump normalizing relations with Syria, which is being seen even by Trump critics as a potential stroke of genius that could massively aid stabilization in the Middle East by cutting off the long-term relationship of Iran, which was basically using Syria as a proxy terror state and helping along with Russia to prop up Assad, the dictator who has now been removed. Okay. I'm just kind of giving people a little bit of a rundown here. You get the final American terrorist who's been held for something like 580 days, Edon Alexander. Hostage, sorry. Held by terrorists, Edon Alexander, the final American innocent, back. And you also potentially get the trade deal done with China. Any one of those that I just ran through would be typically huge, monumental, 1 week or more stories. Trump has done them all, not to mention getting trillions of dollars potentially in aid and commitment from Middle Eastern countries like the UAE, like Qatar, like Saudi Arabia to invest in American business. That seems like a pretty good few days.
And I do think as well, you can already lay out more initiatives, conversations, ideas that have some of it has already. I mean, I view the border as actually a international relations issue, right? We think of it very much as it's so much tied in. It's the economy, it's domestic and national security, it's all these different things. But especially when you have a border, Clay, that had almost 200 nations people arriving at illegally. I think the final number from Border Patrol I saw was like 180 something, right? I mean, there's not that many countries in the world. So you got illegals from all over the world, and now they're trying to figure out how to get them back. And that requires foreign relations, and that requires using pressure, carrots and sticks. And that has already been a massive success. That alone is more than I can attest to for 4 years of the Biden administration sending the absolutely hapless and professionally worthless, maybe he's a nice man, professionally worthless Anthony Blinken as Secretary of State to do what? I mean, we sit here and we talk so much about Biden's dementia, it's worth remembering, everyone, this team was president for 4 years. What is the one win that you can point to on foreign policy? And I know some of you are already shouting, look at the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, how they did that. No, we all know that. I'm saying you find me the one win that they have on the world stage that you can point, getting us embroiled in the endless supplying of a war between Russia and Ukraine that Russia is slowly winning and choking off Ukraine and killing a generation of Ukrainian fighters. Like, what exactly was Biden able to accomplish? And I mean his team, really, because we all know about Biden himself. And then you see where Trump is. Clay, we're 120 or something days into the administration or less than that. And already you're talking about a true strategic shift in our relationship with China, which is, I mean, the EU is the largest economy in the world, right? But if we break it down, it's us and then it's China by nation state. That's a big deal. And we're not even talking about this stuff from the Mideast and the $1 trillion of investment that he's going to be bringing in from there.
I also think, and it has not been recognized, and probably that's because a lot of people are morons. He's also now strategically really isolated Iran and given himself substantial leeway when it comes to negotiating this new deal. And let me explain in basically 1 minute what I mean by this. Syria is now going to be viewing Trump as a hero. They certainly view Saudi Arabia as heroic for helping to get them off of the sanctions list.
Yeah, I was going to say, he pulled off the sanctions, which means Syria now has a chance. Let's see what this country can do. Let's see what the new leadership of Syria can do. There's been a big opening here for them. You know, you want to do good things, Trump's going to bring good things to you. You want to play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes.
Great relationship, even better maybe than it's ever been with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Syria. We know that historically Israel is an ally of the United States. I would submit to you that Trump has now given himself the leeway, if necessary, to have strikes against Iran and not have other parts of the Middle East react and say, oh my goodness, what in the world is Trump doing? Iran is really, really isolated now because Syria is not going to care. Certainly, Saudi Arabia doesn't want a nuclear-powered Iran. The UAE doesn't want that. Qatar doesn't want that. Israel doesn't want that. They may be coming from different perspectives, but they're all aligned now with the United States in the Middle East. We have managed to kind of, in the Ghostbusters analogy, Buck, bring cats and dogs together to marshal them against Iran. And you've been over there. When's the last time you even heard a story about Iraq?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. You used to read 20 stories a day about what was going on in Iraq when we were wasting, unfortunately, trillions of dollars on Iraq. I can't even tell you what is going on in Iraq. Do you have any? I don't really have any clue. Remember when we killed Soleimani, it was, oh my God, World War III is going to happen. I don't remember the last time Iraq had any sort of major say on the larger geopolitical stage.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't seen an Iraq story in quite some time. I think it's kind of limping along as a country, but it has certainly it's dropped out of the headlines. I can't even think of the last story that we talked about on this show about Iraq. But on the Iran isolation from the world, I mean, the problem, and I think you can see this very clearly. The Obama administration essentially gave up all other possible wins in the Middle East and created a disaster. I mean, Clay, I could do a 3-hour show right now off the top of my head on what a disaster Obama's foreign policy, which Biden was in charge of, by the way, allegedly, what a disaster Obama's foreign policy was. And even Democrats, some of them were like, this is so indefensible. And on so many levels, it was atrocious. But it was all to get Iran further enmeshed in the international system, give them essentially inducements for better behavior. It did not work. Iran did not behave better. And I know people say, oh, well, Trump got us out of it. Yeah, because he saw where this was going. He saw what the inducements got us, which is this is a corrupt and evil regime. There's no turning it around with them now. This is who the mullahs are, so to speak. It's who the IRGC is. And there, I think, is just the understanding that Trump has on foreign policy of who are our friends, who are our enemies, how do we treat them, do they know the difference? And the answer with Trump to those questions is quite clear, I think.
I think that's 100% right.
You know what I mean? You know, Trump knows who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. That sounds so simple, but Democrats don't. They're like, oh, no, so bad. Look, I had a great steak night, courtesy of Good Ranchers. And some of the best steaks you're going to find anywhere come from our friends at Good Ranchers. And this Memorial Day, I know a lot of you are going to be having cookouts. A lot of you are going to be taking a moment, of course, to remember those who sacrificed for this country. And, of course, so many people who have fought for the country will say, look, the whole point is that you stop, you think about it, but they want you out there. Those who may pay the ultimate sacrifice, they want you to be with family, to have a weekend, to be out there, to enjoy the freedoms of this country. And for a lot of us, that means there's going to be a cookout, right? I mean, that's how we tend to do it. Good Ranchers, my friends, is the best steak and burger option for this coming long weekend on Memorial Day. That's where Carrie and I get our steaks, chicken, and hamburgers. Clay, I just got another order on the way. because we're out, because we go through it pretty quickly. That's how delicious it is. And I'm telling you, for steak, chicken, hamburgers, you are going to get humanely raised cattle and chickens, no antibiotics, no added hormones. I'm very serious about my meat. It's just the truth. I am. Clay was here for a steak night. He knows it was delicious. Like we kept it 100, as they say. We went all out with the steak night here. And Good Ranchers has got a great deal for you. They want you to try it, giving you free meat for life. You choose ground beef, wild-caught salmon, chicken nuggets, or bacon that just gets thrown into every box during your subscription. And this tallies up to about $300 of free meat year after year. And Good Ranchers isn't just about incredible flavor and value. It's about supporting American jobs, American farmers, and American values. Plus, each cut is pre-trimmed, vacuum sealed, and freezer ready for up to a year. GoodRanchers.com is where you want to go. I love this company. I love what they're doing. I eat their stuff all the time. My wife knows. The good news is that in my new regimen, protein plays a very important role, and I get it from Good Ranchers. Go to GoodRanchers.com. Use my name, Buck, to unlock your free meat for life, plus $40 off, too. They just want you to try it because you're going to love it, and you're going to want to subscribe, and you're going to want to be in the Good Ranchers world. Go to GoodRanchers.com. Use my name, Buck, as your promo code.